Hey guys, this is Helena speaking. I am your person that you go to when you try to solve your financial problems through mindset, strategy, universal laws, and premium clients. I have 5 minutes today. That's the goal. So let's just dive into the challenge, right? I was dealing with the client. We had like a session, and the problem was overwhelm, right? So there was a lot of confusion. She was struggling between 3-4 different like projects, what seemed like very different work areas basically, right? So how did I guide her through that? Because she needed to focus on the umbrella project, right, which is like a 3.1 million nonprofit, a very important development slash nature contributing project happening in Europe right now. And under that umbrella, all other projects, and then one side project were also happening, right? And so it's crucial that she moved through it, and it was crucial that we discussed, of course, like what is going on, where is the focus at needed right now, and what is the strategy to move this forward as quickly as possible, right? So this is sometimes you will experience when you're trying to like start your session with something that you have in your mind, but you see that the client is like, she needs a specific attention, or she's just not there, like present the way she's usually. And so there's always that's like in my work, like that's always going to be a priority, no matter the because that's the whole point of like one-on-one work, right? So we handle whatever comes up, right? And we deal with that, because the client, that's what the client needs. The client doesn't need me to be talking about XYZ strategies or new sales if she's she needs to handle a very specific problem that it's actually going to lead to the common goal that we're after, right? So too many things on hand, feeling exhausted, unable to focus, and having to have decisions need to be made, right? And new sales need to be brought in, right? So the 5 questions that I use, and then some after that, right? So what exactly is the challenge right now, right? So that was something that we needed to clarify. And so maybe the challenge could be, yeah, like unable to focus, or I feel like there's just so many things, like I'm juggling with too many, like balls are in the air, and I just don't feel like I can connect to any of them, or I'm not really sure like what am I doing, why am I doing that, but I just feel like I'm doing so many things all the time, and I just don't get like to any result, right? And so, okay, so overwhelm, right? That's of course, right? So let's see, like, so let's take 2 steps back, right? So what exactly are the things that make you feel overwhelmed, right? So let's say, well, this project needs me to step into it more, and that project, I really don't want to be doing that so much, right? So I'm not sure really how to handle that with my team, because it needs to be done, and then there's this like third project, and I'm not really sure how to approach that, right? So it's more like a mindset issue, confidence issue, creativity issue. And then it becomes also like, what is the shortest strategy, right? Then we get also, of course, to the practical, even like, so how do we create an email that is going to address the client, the buyer, right? How do we tackle the sales conversation that that it's been like ongoing for a few weeks, right? And so, and then also like the the macro plan, right? Like what is going to happen in the next like 12 weeks basically, right? So that's that's all we did like in 60 minutes, right? So that was clear. So what was it, what exactly are the things that made her feel overwhelmed? We discussed that, and so that was the process where everything got cleared up. And so which one of the projects feels the most exciting and which one the least. So why is that important, right? From my experience, right, it really depends on the type of a person you are, right? But the most exciting project, like, right, the most exciting offer, the most exciting, work that you do with your, clients or customers or buyers, right, is always going to kind of like, like pull you forward. Like that's the project that when you think about it, like it gives you energy, like it feels exciting. It feels like, I can't wait to just like sign a new client and like dig in, with that word, right? So that's something that, you want to be talking about that, to yourself. You want to be writing about that. You want to be scripting that out in a positive manner, like, every morning if you have, if you need to focus on that, if you want to get laser focused on that, right? You want to be scripting, every little detail of this new buyer, of this new project going viral, right? Of people really like accepting this like new idea into their own kind of like, life, about even like sponsors, like how sponsors are going to respond, how are they going to react, how, warm, how fast are they going to enter into this project, and how willing are they're going to be to support this, then even like just the social, like the marketing, the website, the people that you're going to pick for, to do your marketing, to do your branding, to do the important things around, the branding of the project, and then the marketing of the project, and then, all the way down to the sales, right? It's so important that, that it's aligned and it's congruent, that it's not made and created out of fear and confusion, right? Because that just creates more fear and confusion, and we don't want that, right? Especially not in such a large, project, obviously, right? So that's something that I take as like, I suggested to her, like, take that as an umbrella. So, the umbrella project is like, that's the destination where you really want to be at, right? And so all the others, can kind of like, lean into that, for now. They need to be done, they need to be handled, but also let us do the, how much of it can be, delegated, how much of it can be like done with, the least effort, in a good way, right? So that the focus can, be and the biggest momentum is, then poured into that, bigger vision, bigger destination, right? So that's very important, to clarify it, right? Because that becomes visible in the schedule, right? So then it translates into the schedule. Why is schedule important? Because immediately when you think about your, most important, offer, or, your like most important project right now, you want to give it more time. Like, so in this case, we decided, like, let's say, 3 days for this, and then 2 days for everything else, right? So that already, like, you could just see from the body language, the client relaxed. She started like, feeling more at home. She started that, she was the master of like, she's making the choices that feel aligned with her. And I was just helping her, to go there, right? So she already could feel much more comfortable and confident in her own skin, and she will do the work, right? So that's non-negotiable, right? We're just talking about the best strategy for the work to be done, right? And to have the most massive effect, right? So yeah, so that was the schedule part, right? And then, we, of course, later on, we also kind of developed, a bit of the 12-week strategy, and, like where this project is going to be in 3 months, like who all needs to be, invited and, visited in this duration, what is going to be the start. She's a high achiever, so she already knows what kind of like needs to be done, right? But she just needs that kind of like confidence and that kind of like clarity and that kind of like laser focused thinking, right? So she can focus on her goal, right? Then, what we ran into was the belief around the, the goal, and then the time frame, right? So this is like, overall, it's like a huge, larger organization, like, right? And then I was like, so who set up like the time frame for the project, which was, let's say, 3 years, right? And that just didn't excite her. Like she's an achiever. She wants to she wants to get into it. She wants to get things done, right? And she's like, I just really want to, like, I want to give this project so much energy, and I want to give it like right now, because it's been going on for, let's say, a year, right? That's why she hired me also, to help her with this project, and also creating different premium packages, right? So that they could sell along the way, right? And so we're doing that, right? And so I was like, so who said that it needs to be done in like 3 years? Like, who is that? Like, is that like what it is in this, kind of business, in this kind of like nonprofit? She's like, no, that was her belief, right? So that was her like time frame, right? So I was like, so does that feel exciting? 3 years? No, so what do you think about a year and a half, or maybe a year, right? So how can you challenge yourself with the time bending, right? Because I believe everything is possible. I've seen this happen so many times, and people get so excited when they actually start thinking about, oh my God, like I don't actually have to like wait, or I don't really have to, not even wait for like one more day, because you can just get to the thing and, do the thing, today, tomorrow, right? And stop thinking about, well, where am I going to be in a year, or like, 3 years, because that's like, that's long term, right? And those like energetic goals, they need your attention, they need your energy right now, right? So that's where the excitement is, right? So you want to kind of like feed off from that, right? And so that's what we did. And that was another level, another like, excitement level, that, she realized like, wow, maybe I could just, make this exception. Like nobody does that, maybe my company could do that. And I was like, well, you see, that's already like an incredible, value that you're, creating here, because if you can do it, and, she can, right? She just needs to be challenged. Like if you can do it, like in like half time, then, everybody else is doing it, or even, less than that, imagine what kind of like added value that is then also for your client. And then you can, you can have even like higher prices for the package, right? Because it's gonna save your clients, time and money and energy eventually, right? So you are free to, to charge, that offer, that, level of work, that contribution much higher, right? And so the same was around the pricing. I was like, well, is this something you've created? Is this something that you just kind of like bought into? Like, what is it, the deal around the pricing and, hourly payments and all of that? So we went through that like thoroughly, right? And we're opening that mindset around, payment, per hour, and, how much this and that, right? And what all is included in that. And so we had an interesting discussion around that, because let's just say that you are, in a game for, let's say, at 300, or $500, $500,000 project, right? And so this is something where, many other people are going to be included too, right? But if if your company gets hired to, manage, the cost, and, who are you going to be hiring, and, you manage to negotiate a much better price with the person who's actually going to be delivering the project, there's like so many details, tied into that. So already, like, if you can, because you have that experience, and that you can, negotiate that price, anything between 30 to 50% even, right? So that's already something where you already know you have so much, of like added value to your own customer, who's going to be hiring you to do that work, that is just like mind blowing, right? And so the sky is the limit, right? So this is something where all these elements, when you go into the meeting, talking to the, to the big dogs, right? Like all of these elements are where, you can feel your own like authority, you can feel your own confidence, and it helps you to be, that CEO, that you really want to be. And it helps you to have that conversation with the people, that you want to be doing business with, right? So in order to do that and to be successful, you need to be confident, and confidence comes from clarity, right? And understanding like the true value of your worth, right? Work and worth. Yeah. So this was so helpful, like in the time manner, We discussed the money like, you know, how the money kind of fits in, you know, the proper pricing, like, you know, what would be the most helpful, you know, for her first, and then, you know, how she can start to, you know, negotiate that, right, and communicate that, right. And then in a matter of like, you know, hour, you know, that email was created. So that was like a very good like sales email, and, you know, already sent, right, an invitation to the, you know, to the next step, like clear guidance, clear authority. And that's what the clients and customers want and need, right? So helpful. I hope this was very helpful, right? Let me know down in the comments. And remember, you are in it to think it and to win it. And if you wanna, you know, if you wanna know more about this, you can PM me for we're doing the one-on-one work, right? So I have some spots open for you, and we can discuss, you know, your challenges and your confidence and how I can help you to achieve a better and more productive work and life. Bye-bye.